Hi, how are you? I am doing my February recap bullet journal spread, and as you'll see later when I flip back to January's recap, I am doing it a little bit different. I didn't really like how I did the spread for January, so I just wanted to do something like a little bit different, and I think I like this one a little bit more. And so I think I may change it throughout the rest of the year, but we'll see. I wanted to keep the mood tracker to see how many days of the month I had each mood, but I didn't want to keep everything I had on the original, back on January's recap. So I made the mood tracker to see how many days, and I think for some of these I should have put it a little bit further back, put the 28 a little further back. And then I wanted to kind of get an idea of my screen time usage, but rather than trying to calculate the average, because that would have been a pain, I was just let me see what was my highest weekly average and my lowest weekly average. And then here you can see is where I flip back to see what was my January one, to see how can I what I want to keep and what I want to change and how to change it. And so I had words, so I also am keeping my word tracking, but I also wanted to see what was the most I wrote in one day and how many days in a row did I write. Also, I'm sorry if I'm talking weird. My brain does not want to cooperate right now. Also, I am keeping the books read. However, I have not finished any books. I started a book, have not finished it yet. So I'm going to keep that. However, that, unless I manage to finish one today, will be blank, which I don't think I'm going to do that. I also wanted to keep my debt summary, but I noticed last month, it was in my recap, it was very cramped and whatnot, so I wanted to create an actual space where I could actually see how much I paid in total, but also how much went towards each debt. And that way I could actually go back and read it and see how well I did in terms of paying off debts. And then I did a little heart border just to kind of keep up with a little bit of a Valentine's Day vibe, the month of love. And then we move into the next step, which is my highlights. So my highlights are just the things that were really good about the month. For example, a highlight for this month was for the 27th, I managed to actually contact my debt collectors for one of the credit card debts we have, and set up a deal to where instead of paying the full amount, I only pay I get 30% of the amount taken off. And then I have a song of the month space as well, because I have songs that I obsess over, and so my favorite song is Always Changing. So I thought that would be a nice little thing to do. And then goals as well, if I've accomplished goals, whether they're ones that I'm talking about, with, for example, I have some in my bullet journal, or I also have silent goals. One of my silent goals is just to be more creative this year, to bring back that creative spark. So a spot for my goals, as well as a spot for things I've learned this month, because that was another one of my goals, is to learn more. And since that is kind of an ongoing goal, that one I'd have to, like, I can't really technically count. And then I also thought, maybe I could rate certain aspects of the month on a scale of 1 to 10. So, like, my mental health, I'll rate on, like, this scale, and then also, like, my self-care, like, how did I do in terms of self-care? Could I have done better? Spoiler alert, I could definitely have done better in terms of self-care. Although I think I could always do better in terms of self-care, honestly. And then, like, my diet as well as my finances. I don't know if this is something I'll keep, because what I didn't think about before I wrote that, I, like, created the scale, is number scales, like, 1 through 10, are always a little difficult for me. And then I have, like, an extra section just for anything else I wanted to throw in there when I do my recap. And so that is my February recap, and I might, like, add a little bit more in, like, that blank space on the bottom corner, and I also drew a little flower.